Diddy's trial is underway, and what you're hearing now, I think the first witness or the second one, either one, was someone who was discussing prostitution. And hey, Diddy's being charged with transportation to engage in prostitution. So, what is that? Let's talk about that. Now, if you look up here, again, I've already discussed the other two charges with racketeering conspiracy as well as sex trafficking. But now let's talk about the third count, what he's being prosecuted for. And as you look here at his indictment, count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. And of course, I don't have to read all of that. I mean, I think you guys get the gist of what they are alleging. But now I want to discuss what exactly is prostitution in terms of the federal law and how they use it to be prosecuted against individuals. Now, if you look at the actual code here that they used right under the account here, it says U.S. Title 18 U.S. Code Section 2421A2. And if you look that up, you will see right here that that code, that federal law states that whoever knowingly transports any individual in interstate or foreign commerce or in any territory or possession of the United States with the intent that such individual engage in prostitution or in any sexual activity for which any person could be charged with a criminal offense or attempts to do so shall be fined under this title and imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. I need you to understand that the federal government here in Diddy's case, they're going to have to basically prove all those elements that you just saw in that code. And just to recap, the basic ones is knowingly transporting someone. You must be aware that you're transporting someone, and then you have to be transporting someone over state lines or even to another country, as it says in foreign commerce. And number 3 is the intent to engage in prostitution or other criminal sexual activity that anyone can be charged with. Now, let me just say that the United States Ninth Circuit Court, they kind of broke down what prostitution or any other criminal sexual activity can be charged with. But I think we should look at first, though, what prostitution is. I think most people have an idea that prostitution is when you engage in sex in exchange for money. But however, if you look at other codes here, because you can be charged with under this federal law, under a state law as well, because when you're going through from state to state, they can use that state law. Now, I live in California, so the California code 647B PC says it makes it a crime to either engage or solicit prostitution. This means performing any sexual act. So just deal with penetration, but any sexual act in exchange for money or other compensation or offering or agreeing to such arrangements. So it doesn't have to always be for money. It has to be for something other than what it's actually used for. Like it could be used for any other compensation. Here in Hollywood, where I live, you've heard of the casting couch. Some people use prostitution in exchange for getting a movie role, getting a record deal, getting a job at one of these, being a producer, direct, whatever you have. You've heard these stories. I don't even have to go into that deep. So that's what prostitution is. So it's not just exchange for sex for money. It can be exchanged for anything of consideration, goods, services, or any other compensation. But the thing is like, I think what is also being included in this charge is also the other sexual activity. Now, if you look at the Ninth Circuit Supreme Court that I mentioned earlier, right here, under the same code, 18 U.S.C. 2421, it kind of gives a charge to the jury, basically. And if you look at the third one right here, because it's the first thing I just told you, all those 3 elements, the third thing talks about, right here, it says, third, that if sexual activity has occurred, based upon the sexual activity that has occurred, the defendant could have been charged with a criminal offense under the laws of the United States, that's a federal law, or in a particular state or territory. And it says, in that state, whatever state it is a criminal offense to do whatever the sex act is charged. So you could be charged under the federal prosecution law or any other sex crime law under the federal guidelines or under the state guidelines of which you are being charged for. Now, again, every state is going to have their own list of sex crimes, and sex crimes could be anything from, again, prostitution, any of these things. One thing that I think that people don't really realize is that in many states, adultery, as you see here, adultery, when you're married and you go to another state, or even within that state, they outlaw adultery. Now, it's rarely prosecuted, but as you can see in these states here, these are some of the states where adultery is actually unlawful. Now, if you're traveling from one state to the next to engage in prostitution or to engage in any one of these other illegal sex acts, that's one of the things that can get you for under this statute. Now, just a brief history of this statute. This statute is also known as the Mann Act, M-A-N-N. The Mann Act is also known as the White Slave Traffic Act. And this act was enacted, I want to say, in 1910. And if you look at this story here, a lot of people feel that this act was based on, as you see here, the former heavyweight champion Jack Johnson. And as you see in the title, the Mann Act was designed to prevent human trafficking, but also used to punish interracial relationships. Again, any other sex activity as the last part of that statute. Now, remember, anything that was criminal in any state at that time they use this act for the Mann Act. And for Jack Johnson, he was married to a white woman, and he's a African-American heavyweight champion back in 1910. And as you can see here, the famous Loving v. Virginia case didn't happen until 1967. Well, the ruling happened in 1967, where the Supreme Court of the United States made a ban, said, no, you can't have anyone discriminate against who they marry. But at the time when Jack Johnson was champion, he was married to a white woman, and it was pretty much unlawful in several states, if not all, to be in an interracial marriage. So here in Diddy's case, they are alleging that not only did he violate the statute, they are alleging, remember, these are all allegations at this point, but they're alleging that he violated the statute by engaging in prostitution, either by having illegal sex acts, whatever they may be, as you're going to hear coming out in court, or just straight up just asking, hiring people sex in exchange for money. Again, this case is just getting started. You're hearing all these allegations being made against him. It is going to get pretty intense. So you tell me what you think. What do you think about this? Now that you have all the charges lined up for you, I've done the sex trafficking, I've done the RICO, racketeering conspiracy, and now you have the prostitution thing explained. You tell me. Now, what do you think? Do you think this is something that that can get worse for Diddy, or do you think, hey, man, he may have a defense for it, and all these allegations are just that, they're just allegations? Tell me what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I would love to hear your thoughts. It's your brother, Attorney Jeff.